I'm ready to take some questions. First, a question here. If you want to ask your questions, or go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. First, I'd like to congratulate you on having the unwavering support of our country's best scientists, our best doctors, our best researchers. They love you. They support you. The question I have is, the National Citizens Inquiry is being hid from the Canadian public. Nobody knows about it. The current politicians run and hide from the National Citizens Inquiry. Is there any plan on pursuing or looking at that information?
Yes, the question is about the National Inquiry, the one that the civil the population did just after the history of COVID-19. What is the position of the People's Party in that, regarding that? Our position is to have a real inquiry, parliamentary commission that will look at everything that happened during the COVID-19 hysteria. We want to have witnesses that will come. We want to have experts and doctors, and just to be sure that Canadians will remember what happened to us during COVID-19 was unconstitutional with these draconian measures. That was also, they told us that the vaccine, the so-called vaccine, was safe and effective. It was not safe and effective. So we must do that just to remember everything that happened during that time, and also for these people to be responsible of their actions. Thank you. Another question?
Yes, I have a question. My name is Sherdal Khan. I'm from Muslim Network TV. People living in a Greater Toronto area are concerned about things happening on the foreign policies front. So I want to ask you, what's People's Party of Canada's position on Gaza, Ukraine, all the things happening away from our border? So how do you going to tackle those issues?
The question is about our foreign policy and the war in Ukraine and what is happening in the Middle East. So first, for our foreign policy, our foreign policy must be based on the security of national security of Canadians. So the war in Ukraine, we were and we are still the only national political party that said at that time that that's not our war. We must not participate in that war in Ukraine. And Ukraine, as you know, is a corrupt country. It's sad that the Canadian government did spend more than $20 billion and giving that to Ukraine. As you know, we need to help Canadians first. That's our position. So we are for peace and prosperity. And our goal, I hope that President Trump will be able to have a peace deal with Ukraine and Russia. Concerning the situation in Middle East, as I said, I'm not pro-Palestine, I'm not pro-Israel, I'm pro-Canada. And actually, we don't have any influence over there. So that's not in our national interest to participate in that conflict or other conflicts. Historically, this country promoted peace and peacekeeping, and that's what we must do. So the foreign policy must be based on our national interest, and it is not in our national interest to engage into a war with other countries like we did with Ukraine by giving resources and ammunition to the Ukraine government. Thank you.
Question. So there is a call for arms embargo putting up. So what do you think supporting with arms? So People's Party of Canada is going to stop that?
Yeah, like I said, we must not give any resources or ammunition to other country to fight a war when it's not in our interest. So that's the position of the party. We want, we need to rebuild our Canadian forces first. And actually, the Canadian forces right now is a woke organization. We need to change the leaderships there, and we need to give them, the resources to protect Canadians. As you know, in Canada, we didn't invest 2% of our GDP in our own defense. We must do that. That is part of the negotiation with President Trump right now. President Trump wants us to put more of our resources to defend ourselves, and we must do that, and also to protect our borders. That's the most important for us. We must be able to live here in a safe and secure country, and in some cities across the country, it is not safe anymore to go outside during the night. As you know, the crimes doubled under Justin Trudeau. We need to stop that. Thank you for asking. Another questions online?
If I may ask one more question.
Any questions online? Okay, go ahead, yeah.
You're here in Greater Toronto area, and overall, there is some Islamophobia also. We have seen several incidents happening in Greater Toronto area or elsewhere. So how are you going to tackle that Islamophobia all around Canada?
We have all that because, you know, the new immigrants are not integrating into our society, into our country. They are promoting here on the street their internal conflicts of their country of origin. We don't want that. That's why we need to stop mass immigration, to be sure to be able as a country to integrate these immigrants into our society. I don't want immigrants to live in the ghettos. I want immigrants to be able to fully participate in our society. So when you have conflicts coming from other countries because of immigrants that are not integrated into our society, it's because of our very bad immigration policy. That's why we need to change that. And after having our moratorium, and when we'll fix all the problems that mass immigration is causing, we need to open our doors and to be sure to select immigrants that will share our values. We are not doing that anymore. So when we will reopen our doors, that will be important to have a face-to-face interview with each one of new immigrants who want to be Canadians. And you know, we did that in the past, and now, you know, under Trudeau in the last couple of years, that was not the case anymore. Our doors were open to everybody, and you know, for Trudeau and also for Carney and for Poilievre, it is not a privilege to be Canadian. For them, you know, migration is normal. For us, it is not normal. We will withdraw from the migration compact and be sure to promote Canadian values with new immigrants. Thank you very much. So merci tout le monde. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.